Welcome back, everyone. So I did get into 4.0 today and got to check it out for a bit. It had quite a few errors and challenges with it. So, if you didn't get a chance to play it today, you probably didn't miss out on a whole lot. Hopefully the coming days they can fix. Well, it's the weekend, so I can't imagine they'll do a lot during the coming days. But hopefully next week and going into further couple weeks, there'll be more progress here. I was pretty happy so far with what I was able to play when I could play. I was a little disappointed with so I intended this being a salvage video, but that's not what this is because that didn't go very well. So I'll also share that as well. But all in all, just kind of want to share some of my first experiences, maybe some of my expectations versus what the reality was, but some interesting and kind of cool stuff going on here. It's cool to see they have progress in 4.0. I still don't think it'll be out before the year's end. That kind of today was kind of I think a testament to that, because I think you'll see if you look at the top player numbers. I try to keep some of that display stuff on. Earlier footage had higher player counts, but later in the day they just kept lowering the cap on that, lowering it. Eventually it was like even less than 100 people on the server, which I think they lowered the caps pretty heavily. So anyways, we'll get into taking a look here. I don't want to spoil a bunch of stuff, so if you want to wait and save 4.0, I definitely wait until it comes out if you don't want to see any of the footage for it. I'm going to try to keep it lighthearted and not show a bunch of the different things, but I wanted to show some of the findings I've had thus far and just kind of share my experience with it. Now, to start with the elephant in the room, there were obviously a lot of errors associated with this. There was kind of a 60K, like can't get into the lobby, can't get to the server kind of connection thing. There were some login issues. 30Ks where they weren't necessarily 30Ks to the server, but 30Ks kind of personally associated with the person. Like the person couldn't stay connected to the server. Even if you can get in, there were some challenges too. So that wormhole jump looks really cool at the beginning there. However, towards the end of it, like I couldn't actually get to Stanton. I was trying to get there so I can like get some armor and stuff. I somehow kind of glitched out of the wormhole and then couldn't get back in to finish my jump. And then I just kind of got stuck there. So definitely a lot of issues with it. So I wanted to get that out, out the front right away here before I even get into my other findings. But definitely it's a rough patch, which is what was expected, and a mess in a lot of ways, but it wasn't all bad. So it was salvaging that I wanted to focus on today. So I was looking at salvaging missions initially, but wasn't seeing a lot there. Also looks like the missions just aren't working correctly. They may have been recalibrated for 4.0, but I don't think so. I think they're just kind of were placeholders and weren't working correctly. So they were also just for Stan, so not a big deal. Moving into trying to look for panels then. So I was like, well, if there's no salvage missions, then surely I'll look for salvage panels and just generally ships. Always hold out hope that there might be ships spread around the verse that we can potentially salvage. That will be the day. In the meantime, I was scanning for salvage, and all I was finding was ore. So great for miners, I guess, but it wasn't, I don't know. I couldn't see scanning signatures, so it's hard to tell how good the potential ore finds were, the mining finds. But at the end of the day, I was not able to find any salvage panels. So I'm not saying they don't exist. I also didn't get to do a whole lot of checking, but with 3 locations, and again, not seeing the signatures and stuff, usually you see a cluster of signatures. So I feel pretty confident that there were no panels, either that there were single panels, and I just couldn't tell because of the signature. But the few times I actually stopped to check stuff, it was typically mining ore. So after kind of giving up on salvage, I decided I would just do some exploring. So that's about it. That's all I've got for the salvage update stuff. It wasn't great. I didn't know what else to kind of do for the salvaging stuff, so I just started to try to explore with the remaining time I had in the day before I was going to wrap up the day, considering a lot of hours were burnt just trying to get into 4.0. So again, I'm sounding like super negative about it, but I was happy to get in there, and I was happy to kind of take a look at it finally. I'm not a part of Vivcati, so it's just one of those things where I was excited to get in there and, again, get my hands on it and just see what was going on with it. There's a number of stations out here. There's a bunch of different points to explore, so the exploration stuff's already just starting to occur. I don't know how much of this I want to keep doing before 4.0 officially comes out. I mean, I probably will, because it's all alpha anyways, but definitely looking forward to see what kind of things will ultimately be out here. This station looked totally different from all of the stations that were currently available. It seemed like quite a few of the assets are pretty specific to Pyro, which is all pretty exciting. So I found this really red planet. I thought it would be a lava planet, but it just kind of had red clayish hues to it. But at the end of the day, it had a lot of wind, and it was really cold outside. So it was interesting temperature, and environment. And there were some of the flying microtech type pterodactyl birds they had going on. I'm probably being a little... I don't have it turned up enough to actually hear... You maybe could have heard it right there. At any rate, yeah, you can kind of hear them in the background there. It'd be kind of cool if they were flying down to try to poke up my eyes so I could at least get some kind of action going on, but it's fine just having them out there. I think they're not all that hostile until you attack them. At this point, and as you noticed in my previous kind of clips, I had already switched over to the Polaris. Unfortunately, I didn't park the Polaris all the way to the ground, and with that wind, it actually blew it off course a bit. So when I went back out there, because I was in a bit of a ravine, or I don't know, a little curvature on the planet there, and the way that the ramps come out on the Polaris, I just didn't quite land it all the way to the ground. I'm thinking I wouldn't really matter, but it mattered. So it was nice to be able to find a loot box as well. The loot box allows for a lot of water in this case, and I find that really helpful in Pyro. So finding snacks is kind of one thing, but a bunch of cruises like I found and a bunch of water was super useful for my run. Well, I say that I ended up having to backspace because my Polaris, I couldn't get back up to it, but it would have been cool if I would have parked correctly. So I don't know, park right, boys. I don't know. I definitely messed that up. Yeah, at the end of the day, it was still fun though to check out this planet. You can see the wind coming back in again, and actually I had turned off my engines once I got back in the ship, and it really threw the Polaris around. So it was kind of cool to see that environmental kind of shift. Yeah, I enjoyed this kind of little exploration, and it was just a fun little adventure to check out. I look forward to seeing what other kind of planets are out there. I don't even know if I've checked out all the planets and moons in Stanton, to be honest. So just something I need to do a little bit more with, and something I actually like doing in the Polaris. It's a decent little ship. Obviously, it's not meant to be an explorer per se, but it works out pretty well as an exploration type ship. I don't know what they're going to do at the end of the day with the Carrack and what they offer for actual exploration, but for now, just having a large ship like this, having the medical bed to spawn back into, having enough fuel to get around, being able to carry pretty sizable amount of different variety of ships with you and other craft is pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to this ship coming out in live. Same thing when I'm waiting for 4.0 to come out. So I think all this is pretty promising, and it's ending out the year stronger than they've been going throughout the year. Obviously, people will still disagree. It's not been the strongest year. It feels more promising though, because they need to get through the server meshing. I still feel like it's kind of a C or D year for them, and they're having to redo a bit of 2024 with 2025 with the server meshing stuff. They're going to have to really get that server meshing going in order to seemingly get all of the other systems going in place. So all of the bugs and stuff they have now, sure, they'll get that worked out, but at the end of the day, it's getting server meshing up and running in a largeable proportion to actually get the game up and running. Anyways, thank you all for checking out the video, and I appreciate those that have taken the time to like and subscribe. And sorry I didn't have any more salvage updates, but there just wasn't any salvage to be had, unfortunately. So hopefully that'll get fixed in the future as well. And appreciate you all again checking out the video, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.